So you are the first woman with the right to vote from the church. Um, how has this affected you?
Well, I really want to speak about Pope Francis, who took this decision to appoint me as Undersecretary of the General Secretary of the Synod, that gave voting right at the Synod. But the most important is that when we had the Assembly of the Synod, we were 54 women with voting rights. So it has opened a door to express, and that was the wish of Pope Francis, how it is important to involve women who are already in the church, but to involve them more and more into decision-making processes.
Because women were already inside the church, but they were like consultants, not they didn't have the right to vote.
Yes, we can speak about this in this specific bodies. They couldn't vote before because it was only mainly bishop. But the most important is not it's symbolic, the voting right, but the process of the synod is to reach a consensus. And when a document is voted, it's always usually there is already a consensus. So the most important that we have to read and to understand is that it expresses the necessity to listen to women at all levels and to involve them in we can say in leadership role, in governance at all level of the church. In the parishes, they have to be in parish councils, in dioceses, and we have already many women who are in leadership, for instance, in a Catholic university, Catholic schools. But Pope Francis has given also kind of visibility and inspire also bishops and priests to do the same, because we are always better together when we are men and women together, especially to serve the others and to serve the church.
Yeah, that's something that you say, and also Pope Francis said it's not like women now, women above men. Now it's all together. Now we are better when we are together.
Yeah, yes, and that's really the vision of Pope Francis, and that's what you can see here. All those all those people who are going, to pay their respect to the Pope. You have all the diversity, kids with families, very old people, men and women, people from all continents, people with disabilities. Yesterday, when I was there was a Muslim imam. So that's the vision of Pope Francis for humanity. We are one family, and the church is at the service of building unity. And building unity and having good relationships between men and women is very important. And I often say, the difference between men and women is a kind of matrix of all kind of differences. And so the vision of Pope Francis is a church able to listen to everybody. He was repeating that. Todos, 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 everyone, everyone, everyone. So, of course, also the women, they are half of humanity, and they have to be there in the room also when there are decisions to be taken for the common good of humanity.
So the Pope Francis opened some doors like this one, also the diversity and the inclusion of so many people. Do you fear that these doors will be closed, or the next conclave will look forward to maintaining them open?
We have to read with the long history. And if Pope Francis was able to do that, it was also because he was really rooted in the vision of the church that came from the early church. In the gospel, the women were there, especially the first to witness the risen Christ. In the Second Vatican Council, and I always think about those women who were the first women appointed as observers within a council at that time by Pope Paul VI. And since then, you had already some women in leadership at the Vatican, not so many, but Pope Francis has moved forward, and until the end, he was stating how it is important to have more and more women, not only at the Vatican, and now for the first time there are two women who are already head of a department of a dicastery. But for instance, he was also repeating that the key for peace building is to involve women, and that's very important.
And why is that? What do you think about Francis saw in women? Like he said, like when women are in charge, everything goes well.
Well, I think it's sometimes say it. I don't think it's because women are better, maybe sometimes, but it's also because women bring diversity, and that's what when you have to decide in a complex world. Everyone has his own lenses, and you look at reality in a certain way. So when you bring women, you bring other kind of ways to cross-read the reality, and that will help in the discernment. His vision of the church, and he was calling for a more synodal church. That means a church that is more participatory and missionary. And Pope Francis has understood, but that was also the voice of so many people all around the world, of women, of course, but not only, also of men. They have understood that we have to work together, and we will serve better if we are together in leadership, men and women. And that's why Pope Francis really carried that on.
Mm. And I don't know if you think we still have a very clerical church, like very focused on the people from the clergy.
Well, the church is very diverse. It depends also where you are coming from, where you are. So, of course, and Pope Francis was denouncing that a too clerical church. That is, it's especially a way to exercise ministry or to exercise authority in a very personal way. The vision of Pope Francis and what we need, his vision was that women, like others, they have specific gifts. They have charisms and they have gifts to put at the service of the common good of the society, and they can also contribute to the mission of the church. So through women empowerment, we can say, or appointed women in leadership, it's also a way for him to highlight that everyone has to be part of the mission of the church. For those who recognize themselves as member of the church, no one has to be excluded. So you can't exclude women, but that means also for him, don't exclude the older people or don't exclude the young people. We need the gift of everyone. And that's also the vision the synod has highlighted. It's the importance to value everyone, to listen to everyone, and to work together, listening to each other, to discern how the Holy Spirit is calling the church to serve better the mission.
So also we as members of the church, we have to understand this to want to participate in the church, not only follow the leaders. But
Yes, that's exactly that. To understand that the church is not just the priests, the bishops, and the pope. The church is all of us as baptized and as people of God walking with all the people of the earth. And that's why, as you highlight, it's about women, but it's about the diversity. And we can also highlight the importance for Pope Francis to really put at the center the poorest, those who have no voice, those who are suffering, and he had a special attention and closeness to them. And we also know that everywhere in the world, when you have war, conflicts, the first victims of violence, of unemployment, of poverty are always the women. But also women has a lot of resiliences, and Pope Francis has really highlighted that, and they have a contribution to give. So everyone has to discern how to, when you receive something, a gift, skills or charism, it's not for you. It's to give back to the others.
Yeah. So Pope Francis was very, very loved, very well known, very open to everyone. What do you think is the challenge of the new Pope?
Well, I won't say. I think it's step by step. For the moment, we are mourning Pope Francis, and the cardinals will begin next week to gather and to discern what kind of Pope we need now, because we are in a new time after Pope Francis, and they have to assess the state of the world, the state of the church, and what will be needed for the new pope. But we hope that he will be, because that's the first mission of a pope, is to exercise the ministry of unity and to highlight, to help the church to be in communion, in unity, and not only among ourselves, but to build unity of the human family. And that's, I think, the challenge for the next pope, because we are in such divided, polarized world that we need more and more unity.